you're looking for a simple but very powerful minion build that you want to use at endgame and absolutely delete everything no matter what you're going against, then this is going to be the build for you. One of the greatest things about this setup is that anybody can put this together. You don't need any crazy gear. There's just a few details you need to know and do correctly. And once it's done, you're going to be destroying everything. We're talking tier 13, 14, 15, easy clears. And that's with the build that isn't even fully optimized. I am going to be uploading updated versions of this build too, so keep that in mind. This build is going to be built around two main things. It's going to be sacrifice and detonate. If you take a look at sacrifice, it says skills can use your undead reviving minions in place of corpses. Minions revive 30% more slowly. We are going to counter that with specific things. But apart from that, you guys get the idea, right? You're treating your minions as corpses. That's going to be the main gameplay loop of the build. And since that is the case, that means that the detonate dead will be exploding on your minions and on corpses as well. Now, what you need to do is increase the percentage and the chance of your minions not dying as fast as possible. So for that, we are going to be using corpse conservation on detonate dead. This means that corpses consumed by supported skills have 25% chance to not be destroyed. But there is one more thing on the passive tree that is gonna bring this 25% to a total of 50%, which is perfect. So there's gonna be 50-50 chance for you to directly kill your minion or not. So you're gonna keep just exploding these minions all the time on your enemies. Meanwhile, corpses are also being created. You're going to be detonating the corpses as well. And there's going to be huge amounts of damage across the board. Now, you guys see how fast the minions spawned as well. I'm going to show you guys all you need to do for that when it comes to the passive skill tree. But first, let's take a look at the magnified effect, which we are going to be using on detonate. Because we're going to be increasing the area of effect, this is going to make the clears much more simple. Then we have ambush. Supported skill has 100% more critical hit chance against enemies that are on full life. This is good because when you're pushing into enemies right away, you're going to be dealing massive damage. Also, crits are very good for the blood mage anyway. Then we have spell echo. Supported spells echo once supported skills have 30% less cast speed. Echo from supported spells have 30% more area of effect. So when you do this, you will see that there's two explosions right there. You see that? Instead of one, this also increases your damage further and makes it much stronger. So that's going to be pretty much the main thing you need to know about this build when it comes to just clearing, dealing damage, single target, or add clear as well. Obviously, to make all of this work, we're going to need sacrifice. For this one, we're going to be using cannibalism and then clarity to get some mana and survivability at that. And what we're going to be utilizing is the skeletal warriors. Now, the reason for that is they are very cheap. Mine is at level 17 right now. You guys can see only 20 spirit. So we're rocking 7 of them and then 2 clerics. Clerics are going to be healing your warriors and rezzing them faster as well. So it makes the build much more approachable and consistent as well. On the warriors, we're going to be using meat shield, then minion mastery, and last gasp. This keeps them alive a little bit longer. Now, keep in mind you're using meat shield because you want to increase the HP off of your minions, because the higher the HP is gonna be, the more damage those explosions are gonna deal. Then we have a skeletal cleric. This one, as I said, just heals them, reses them, all the good stuff. And we have arcane tempo on here. Supported skills have 25% more cast speed. Frost wall. Now, this one doesn't really contribute in terms of like anything insane, but what I like to do with this one is use it like a defensive mechanism. So if I'm getting overwhelmed, I'll just drop a bunch of these and you'll see that the enemies kind of get confused. They can't get through it. However, that said, what's really cool about this is that when you're going to be using detonate on your minions, the damage hits the ice wall and it shatters. So it really helps you with clearing at the end of the day as well, not just survivability. And on top of that, we have spell cascade. We have icicle to make the shattering easier, and then concentrated effect as well. We are also going to be running raging spirits. Now, the raging spirits, just overall, when you're popping your explosions, you will see that they're going to be spawning, right? Boom, just like that. And all of these things are going to be igniting enemies as well. And I'm going to show you all of that on the skill tree when we get there. But essentially what we want on here is Infernal Legion, Minion Instability, and then I'm also running Fire Penetration. And finally, we're running Blasphemy, Flammability. When Flammability curses enemies, they're going to have a minus 36% to fire resistance, which is just perfect for our build. That is it. That is the skills that you're going to be rocking. Now let's take a look at the passive skill tree, because this is where it gets really interesting, okay? So at the beginning here, I just follow this route. You want to pick up everything and anything you see when it comes to minion HP. As long as the minion HP is going up and up, it's better for you because the damage is going to be higher. Their survivability is going to be better. Across the board, that is one of the most important things you can do for this build is minion HP. So right here, you will see that you're just going to follow all of this and make your way to the left. And you're also going to grab Restless Dead. Minion revives 25% faster. And minions have 3% increased attack and cast speed. Now, this is very important, guys. This will up your damage a lot. This is an ignite chance. So when you grab all of these nodes, you're going to be sitting at 85% chance to ignite your enemies, and you can even make it stronger. 12% increased magnitude of ignite you inflict. Actually, let's pick this up for now. And yeah, you're going to grab all of this to have a high chance on ignite, 85% on all of your fire abilities. I'm going to zoom out here. On this side, you are also going to have a lot of minion buffs, and I mean a lot. For example, this one says increased 40% maximum life for your minions. And on top of that, we do have more minion revive speed. And this is something, once again, you want to go for, because let's say that, you get unlucky with the 50-50s, your minions do go down. You want them to come back as fast as possible. Now, there is one way to get it to 75%, but that is tied to a unique. So I'm trying to make a build for you guys in a very simple way so that, you don't have to chase these uniques. That said, you could probably buy them on the market for pretty cheap at the moment. The price of that unique could go crazy really soon though, because this build, I think, is one of the best builds for the Blood Mage right now. Because you also, when you're destroying all of these things and so many ads, a lot of these orbs keep dropping. You're picking them up. Your survivability goes up. Across the board, it feels really good on the Blood Mage for me personally, and I've been enjoying it a lot. So from here on, we're going to move up top here, grab these nodes, and we are going to make our way. Don't pay attention to this. I have to reroll this. But we are going to pick up some spell damage up here. And then on the right side, you will see that we're going for a lot of crit. We want to have as much crit as possible on Blood Mage, especially when you're going to be fighting bosses. That's going to come in handy because those crits give you a chance to create the blood orbs. You pick them up and those just keep you alive in boss fights very, very easily, right? So you're going to pick up all of these nodes for some increased crit chance. You will see that there's more crit chance right over here, right? This is very, very good. And do not forget to grab meat recycling. When I said that you could get the chance to 50%, this is what I was talking about. When you pick up this node, now in combination with the corpse conservation, you're going to have a 50% chance to not destroy your minions. That is essentially what we want to make this build work. Now, on this side, there's one more thing that I want to show you. You will go all the way here. And the reason I like this node is that this is a total of 75% increase of critical hit chance. Once again, personally, I really enjoy going for a crit chance when it comes to the Blood Mage. Now, the ascendancy wise, I haven't unlocked the third ascendancy yet. I'm probably going to be doing it today. We are going to go for Gore Spike, which means that our critical damage is going to go up by a lot, especially when you're fighting bosses, as I said, and you're dealing that critical damage. The orbs are dropping, your HP is going up, your damage is going up. When we do get to Sunder the Flash, we're going to get a base critical hit chance increased by 15%. Like, base increases are always very, very good. And this is most likely going to take our gameplay to a completely different level. But yeah, this is what the skill tree looks like. If you guys have any questions, always drop them in the comment section below. I always try to answer as many comments as possible. But overall, guys, it's a really fun loadout. And as I said, one of the most interesting and good things about this build is how easy it is to put together. You don't need any uniques, nothing crazy. Anybody can make this build, right? Now let's take a look at the gear. I'm actually gonna move my camera here. Shout out to Nico. He got me this wand. Another thing you need to know about the unique, which is this one right here. Even though this will add 25% chance to not destroy corpses, so you would be at 75%. Right, you do lose out on a lot of stats compared to a normal wand. So for example, compared to this one, we already have 13% less increased spell damage and 60% less critical hit chance. And on top of that, we don't have the +3 to level of all fire spell skills. Now, all of these things combined do make a huge difference when it comes to damage. So to end with the 50%, it's just going to work perfectly fine as long as you pick up all the skills that I showed you so that minions revive faster if you do get unlucky with the 50% chance. However, that said, that shouldn't happen that often at all. I almost never run into that issue. Then I'm going to hover over some of the pieces here. The gear is not the best. However, it works. And once again, the fact that it isn't the best is what makes this build so good, in my opinion, because it shows you that you can put this together as well. And as long as you're playing the game, getting some exalted orbs, you can trade, all that kind of stuff, get some good gear, and you're good to go. That is what you need to know about this build. Now, the mana flask that I have has been actually very helpful because it has a 23% chance to gain a charge when you kill an enemy. And that happens often because we're clearing really fast. One thing I will say that I really need to make better on this build right now is I need to increase the mana overall. If I manage to do that, this build is going to be 10 times better. Currently, I do sometimes run out of mana. I'm only at around 800. I probably need to get it to around 2000. I think that would be absolutely perfect. And that would most likely cover all the issues. So when it comes to ad clear, the build is phenomenal. You're going to be clearing very, very easily. On top of that, when it comes to single target damage, if you're talking about rares or a group of rares, bosses, it's very comfortable to play. You have so many minions that they're pretty much doing all the work for you, and you're staying in the back, just safe, just spamming the one and only detonate. That's all you're doing. It's a very simple setup. On top of that, if you are getting swarmed, that's literally when the frost wall comes in. You're just gonna drop these, as many as you can, boom, just like that, and then keep exploding them. And you see the shatterings happen as well. So this helps with the clearing on top of everything. Now, the gameplay you see is on tier 13, and this is in a duo situation. As you guys can see, like, my teammate is down. Try got one shot by some bullshit. But the point is, even though the damage is scaling like crazy, you can see that the clears are very easy with this setup. And the fact that it's so simple to put together, but yet it is so effective on higher tiers. And trust me, you can run 14s, 15s, as long as you get lucky and get those drops. We didn't have any 15s at this moment right here, but you can run them very easily. The build is very safe as well, as mentioned. And because you're dealing so much damage and creating these orbs all the time, obviously your survivability goes up because you're overflowing your HP. And your damage is also going to go up as you pick up that third ascension on your blood mage as well. And the crystals is just such a good pick when it comes to survivability. If you're getting overwhelmed, you drop them down, you surround yourself with the crystals, and it's just so much easier to get through any of the tiers. Also, with the curse that we're running, all you need to do is like get in range of the enemies and they're gonna get debuffed right away, and now you're dealing even more damage. So what I like to do is kind of roll in and out to put the debuff on the enemies and get out of there. Obviously, there are some situations where you got to be careful because you can get one shot or something crazy can happen, but you can get to the very end of the end game with this build and just have a good time. You can get best of the best drops, best of the best gear, you know, exalted orbs, everything you want, you can get to with this setup. Once again, this is not fully optimized, and I am going to be updating this build and I'm going to be making it much better. Once I do, I will let you guys know. I will upload a new one and keep you guys updated.